Let me tell you about a novel called Less, written by Andrew Sean Greer. He is an American novelist known for writing thoughtful stories about identity, relationships, and the quiet confusion people feel while trying to understand their lives. Les became very well known and even won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction.
That's impressive. So, what makes the story special?
It follows the life of a man named Arthur Less. He is almost 50 years old and works as a novelist. But at this stage in his life, he feels uncertain about everything: his career, his relationships, and even his place in the world.
So, he's at that stage where people begin questioning their life choices.
Exactly. Arthur once wrote a successful novel when he was young, but now his new books are not receiving much attention. Publishers are not very interested in him anymore, and he begins to feel like his time as a writer might be ending.
That must affect his confidence.
It does, but something even more painful happens. His former boyfriend is getting married to someone else, and Arthur is invited to the wedding.
That sounds extremely uncomfortable.
Arthur thinks the same thing. He feels embarrassed and emotionally overwhelmed. He cannot imagine standing there watching someone he loved start a new life with another person.
So, what does he do?
Instead of facing the situation, Arthur decides to escape. Around the same time, he receives several invitations to attend literary events in different countries, small conferences, book readings, and award ceremonies. He builds a long trip around the world. It almost feels like he's running away from his problems.
Sometimes people believe distance can solve emotional pain.
Yes, but the story slowly shows that emotions travel with us. No matter how far Arthur goes, his thoughts keep returning to his fears, aging, loneliness, and the idea that he might have wasted his opportunities.
Where does he travel?
He visits many countries: France, Italy, Germany, Morocco, Japan, and others. Each place brings strange and sometimes funny experiences. Arthur often finds himself in awkward situations. Sometimes he struggles with language differences, sometimes he misunderstands cultural traditions. At times, he feels completely out of place.
Travel is not always as glamorous as people imagine.
Exactly, and the novel uses these moments to show something deeper about human nature. Arthur is constantly worried about how others see him.
But do those worries actually help?
Not really. During his travels, Arthur slowly begins to see that his fears have been controlling his happiness. He has been measuring his worth through success and recognition.
Which can be very dangerous.
Yes, because success is not always permanent. Fame fades, careers change, but the value of a person cannot be measured only through achievements.
That feels like one of the main ideas of the story.
It is. Arthur starts noticing small moments around him: kindness from strangers, unexpected friendships, and simple experiences that make life meaningful.
So the journey changes how he sees life.
Exactly. Instead of constantly judging himself, he begins to accept his imperfections. He realizes that being awkward, confused, or uncertain is simply part of being human.
That is actually a comforting thought.
It is. Writers often tell stories like this because they reflect real life. Most people are not heroes living perfect lives. Most of us are simply trying to figure things out as we go.
So Arthur's story becomes something many people can relate to.
Yes, his journey reminds us that life rarely follows a straight path. Plans change, relationships end, and sometimes we feel lost. But those moments can also lead us to new understanding.
In other words, feeling lost does not mean the journey is over.
Exactly. Sometimes it simply means the story is moving in a direction we did not expect.
Listening to this, I feel like the novel is less about travel and more about self acceptance.
That's a very good way to describe it.
Then maybe the real question is this: if we stop measuring our lives by success or failure, how differently might we see ourselves?